Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
New tonight at 6, we begin with an update to a whistleblower story that we told you about in January. North Dakota authorities say the man behind a furniture restoration business in Fargo committed consumer fraud several times and must pay more than $30,000 in penalties.
Valley News Team's Kelly Hubbard has details and reaction from one of his victims.
Very unfortunate and actually an unusual result.
Phyllis McGelkey was among several people ghosted by Nathaniel Warren, who ran Woodchuck Furniture Restoration in Fargo. She says she gave Warren a down payment of just over $1,000 to fix her World War I era kitchen cabinet that belonged to her grandparents. It didn't get done, and that was the last she saw of her money.
He never contacted me, and so I feel pretty deceived.
After closing up shop, authorities say Warren left the state. Attorney General investigators have information that he may have registered a vehicle in Maine.
Warren's lack of cooperation was extremely frustrating. He failed to communicate with us, failed to even acknowledge the conduct.
Grossman says the judgment against Warren includes $21,000 for 11 people scammed, $10,000 in civil penalties for consumer fraud violation, and another $3,000 for other costs and fees.
We don't know if those items were lost, destroyed, or resold.
Grossman says they did everything they could to get the sentimental items back into the hands of their owners. For McGelkey, she found part of her cabinet outside Warren's building.
This item meant so much to you. It carries so much history. And I guess after hearing about Warren, I guess, what is your reaction?
I have a lot of mixed feelings about it, I think, because I'd felt bad for him, thinking he was sick, maybe a little violated. I just feel like it was my property and I had a right to choose what happened to it.
McGelkey says whether she gets her money or item back is a moot point. She just wants Warren to answer to the law because messing with this many heirlooms isn't okay. In Fargo, Callie Hubbard, Valley News Live.
Authorities say the Woodchuck Furniture Building is owned by another person, and they have refused to cooperate with the Attorney General's office, and there's no way to get the items back. If you need help with fraud or corruption in your community, contact our whistleblower hotline. You can call 237-6576 and leave your tip. A member of our investigative team will go to work to expose the truth.
If you like today's weather, then good for you, but the intel that I'm getting says tomorrow should be better. Nathan is here with details on tonight's conditions, which should be pretty good as well. Nathan?
Yeah, Mike, your intel for tomorrow is 100% correct. We'll get to that in a couple seconds, but let's get you out the door tonight for your Thursday evening plans. A beautiful look on our Home of Economy Skycam in Grand Forks. Some high clouds out there this evening, but beautiful sunshine getting there on the lower on the horizon there in the Grand Forks area. A bit breezy out there. We did see a little shake in the camera at this hour, seeing those winds out of the southeast around 15 to 20 miles per hour, still gusting around 30 miles per hour for our friends in Valley City, Jamestown, even Fargo, seeing a recent gust around 25 miles per hour. Not nearly as windy in Minnesota, and I do expect the gustiness of the wind to subside as we head toward the midnight hour tonight. But look at these temperatures, 57 in Roseau and Baudette, 65 right now in Fargo, 1 degree cooler for our friends in Grand Forks, still holding on to the upper 60s in Sisseton. Aberdeen still seeing 73 degrees. Now, moving into the weekend, things will be getting shaken up a little bit. The system moving through. Because of that, we have a first alert weather day issued for Sunday, tracking the potential of some showers and storms Sunday night. Some of those could be strong to severe, so of course we'll break that down in more detail coming up here in a couple minutes.
Well, we'll enjoy it until then. Thanks.
That's right.
New data shows Fargo currently has only 10 ICU beds still available. And while state health officials confirm North Dakota hospitals are at high capacity, they say healthcare providers are prepared and they feel good about where they are. They emphasize only 10% of hospitalizations in the state are due to COVID-19.
What we're dealing with today is still a backlog from deferral of health care for 2 months. During COVID times, breast cancer detection rates were about 20 to 25%. Vaccination rates have dipped dramatically. There's long-term consequences of that.
North Dakota is reporting 531 new positive cases today. 137 of those are in Cass County. We have a further breakdown of today's numbers along with numbers from Minnesota scrolling at the bottom of your screen right now.
A recent New York Times article says that Sanford Medical Center in Bismarck turned away a COVID-19 patient because of a lack of beds and advised the patient to either go to Fargo or return home and have a relative care for him. Sanford Health says it's equipped to handle the influx of COVID-19 patients. Emmeline Ivy has details.
Sanford Health Bismarck directors say the hospital has reached 100% capacity over the last month, but they say considering that number alone doesn't tell the whole story. Hospital staff say only 10% of the inpatients are being treated for COVID-19. 90% are people with other ailments or conditions. Sanford Health has 4 hospitals across the state, and Sanford Clinic Vice President Todd Schaefer says they are all able to take in critical care and COVID-19 patients, clarifying parts of the New York Times article.
We don't feel that statewide that there's a shortage of beds. When you look at Sanford and Bismarck, we're doing all we can from a staffing perspective to maintain an adequate number of beds to take care of both COVID and non-COVID patients.
Schaefer says over the past month, Sanford Bismarck has sent about 12 COVID-19 patients to other facilities. The New York Times article states one patient was told his only options were to send him to a hospital hours away in Fargo or to release him to be monitored by his daughter. However, Schaefer says the hospital has a home monitoring program for select patients who fit certain criteria and offer the option to patients to treat their COVID at home.
We have remote monitoring where we can monitor their oxygenation, symptoms, as well as their temperature. We have a bank of nurses and providers that monitor what their symptoms are.
CHI St. Alexius responded in a statement saying, "We have capacity to care for all patients and are constantly monitoring our resources, including PPE and staffing needs."
Schaefer adds, according to federal regulations, hospitals cannot transfer or turn away patients who meet hospitalization criteria unless there's another facility able to accept them. Hospitals must also have a physician-to-physician conversation to make sure the patient is accepted.
Fargo police say the death of a man whose body was found behind M&H does not appear to be suspicious. Officers went to the 1600 block of Main Avenue before 9 last night because of a disturbance. Officers found the caller there and discovered they were hanging out with a few people in a nearby alleyway at 1500 First Avenue South. As officers were investigating, they noticed a man lying on the ground. Family members and police confirm it is not the body of 80-year-old Robert McKinnon, who has been missing since last week.
Several charges have been filed against a Fergus Falls man accused of leading Otter Tail County deputies on a chase last week that killed an elderly couple. On October 2nd, Otter Tail County deputies were attempting to arrest 30-year-old Cody Freitag on several outstanding felony warrants. His vehicle hit a deputy's squad car and fled at high speed. It crashed into another vehicle, killing 72-year-old Stephen Christensen and his wife, 71-year-old Diane Christensen. Later on Valley News Live at 6, how soon everyone in the country could be getting a vaccine for COVID-19.
In temperatures cooling into the 50s for us this evening and staying fairly steady for us with a south wind keeping us fairly mild along with some passing clouds. Still though, south wind around 10 to 15 miles per hour for the rest of tonight. And then of course in Grand Forks also cooling into those 50s but staying also steady. We'll break down your Friday forecast next.